The Elden Ring trailer has been leaked. Looks pretty legitimate with the classic From Software attack and roll animations. There's also confidential watermarks all over it, so that could mean something as well. Opening shot of a giant spiky castle, a giant flying spiky dragon, and two giant spiky creatures pulling a cart attached by a chain, and of course a stake through their mutilated looking stomachs. Very From Software. Other than the golden hour sunset lighting that's oh so pretty. We see a gigantic head that could be a sculpture with a tiny person next to it for scale. The giant head has burning embers to fit in with the earlier game's themes. In the distance, a humongous ghostly tree. Now, with reports of Elden Ring being open world, I'm thinking Miyazaki could have a lot of fun with curious, disturbing surprises dotted throughout the landscapes for the player to discover. We see the main character, probably, shown at different configurations of weapons, and one of them being a very colorful blue wizard. The combat they showed looks quite similar to Dark Souls, weighty attacks, weighty rolls. But wait, there's horse riding and attacking while on the horse. If it's an open world, you're going to need a way to get around, and I guess every franchise needs to eventually go through their horse phase. You know, like a 12-year-old girl, or boy, or in between. Second, allegedly leaking trailer. Allegedly leaking? They're allegedly leaking over there. They're leaking trailers. Shows more of the usual Dark Souls traversal and an important-looking feminine figure floating along in a robe with a golden rod and a crescent hat. Watch out for creatively made videos involving that character. To me, this looks like a return to the core of the series. More weighted combat we first saw in Demon Souls that were refined in Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 2 felt a little faster and more tuned to fighting one-on-one duels. Bloodborne was a lot faster, ditching blocking, buffing up the parrying, and rewarding aggression by restoring a portion of health. Dark Souls 3 felt like a hybrid, keeping the classic Souls combat options of shields and magic, etc., but operating at a quicker pace. Sekiro, my favorite, was the biggest departure, greatly rewarding relentless attack and demanding the player learn how to parry. Multiple ways of parrying. I'll never forget my first Mikiri counter. Personally, I loved Sekiro's combat because I felt immersed in the back and forth of trading blows, blocks, and parries, as well as the momentum of turning the tide enough to climax with a red flash of the death blow signal and the catharsis of performing that death blow. It looks like Elden Ring's characters move a lot slower than that, more similar to Demon Souls or Dark Souls 1. But here's what I'd want to see for the combat. Some kind of a power move system, similar to Sekiro's build-up and death blow. I'd like to see a mechanic that works within the combat to provide more dynamics rather than simply dodge, attack, repeat, or block, attack, repeat. The combat in the trailers does look flashier than earlier Souls games. Could be just showing off for the trailer and the new effects and the new hardware, but From Software has a reputation for being more honest with their trailers than that site that talks about honest trailers. The Dark Souls classic format is still rock solid and rewarding enough to be enjoyed today, but after 4 games in the main series, I'd love to see some new wrinkles, like the wrinkles I get 4 games later. They definitely have the ability to experiment successfully, as we've seen in Bloodborne and Sekiro. Although Elden Ring is a new IP by name, it's quite obvious from what we're seeing, the animations and all that. It's firmly rooted in Souls past. How about this open world? If you're going to traverse around by horse, this could be a lot of fun. The trailer clearly showed the character riding and attacking on a horse, so that makes sense. We see some far-off structures of all kinds in the distance to hint at what you could travel to. This could greatly expand on the more linear paths between levels we've seen before. Miyazaki is the undisputed king of nasty surprises, such as enticing a character through a doorway with the side of a chest, and then having a terrifying enemy jump out of the closet and say "boo" as they rip your face off. The man obviously enjoys it, and the greatest compliment I can give is how this mentality has crept into my play of other games. I tend to mistrust anything that looks too easy and nice, as if it's bait, and Miyazaki's hiding behind my shoulder, waiting to dump spiders in my mouth. What I'd love to see in the open world are enough smaller encounters to keep it interesting. Open world is a great idea on paper, but if it's empty, you're better off with a linear approach and using those resources elsewhere. What I'm getting at is if Miyazaki can use his wonderful, sick idea of baiting and surprising the player and then break that up all over the open world so he can hide his dark surprises, his twisted characters, and mysterious lore all over the map. Literally. Miyazaki is on a legendary run since Demon Souls came out in 2009. Dark Souls 2 gets pooped on, but it's still a damn good game, and he was making Bloodborne at the same time. It's rare to have so much faith in a developer, but after proving he can step out of his comfortable box of uncomfortable action RPG horror, I have total faith Elden Ring will be, at the bare minimum, very good, probably great, and perhaps one of the best games of the entire generation that has barely started. What do you think?